Just walked me to work. It's like almost 6 a.m. She was just talking about, well, we were just talking about the Vatican and what a weird place that is, and just everything about it, like the fact that it's its own separate kind of place. It's not a part of Rome. It's not a part of Italy. It has its own jurisdiction. Doesn't answer to anybody. It just kind of does its own thing. And we were talking about some of the stuff that is maybe housed there. They have those archives, those catacombs, a library under there with all the crazy stuff. Basically everything that was historical that existed after the flood. It's like they piled everything up and stuck it in their basement and then said, oh yeah, we'll tell you about history. But, you know, this is what happened. That's basically what it is. And here's the book about it, right? And here's the sequel. And that's, you know, they got all the real history and all the real stuff hidden in the fucking library down there. I've heard they have something, it's been talked about for years, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But they have something called the chronometer or the chronometer or some kind of thing that with it you can view the crucifixion almost like a videotape or something. It's a device you look into. It sounds like something out of science fiction or fantasy, but it's allegedly hi, I'm allegedly allegedly there's it's in there. There's a bunch about I've heard all kinds of stuff about that thing. Who knows? But when someone takes a bunch of stuff and hides it in a basement and doesn't allow anyone to see it, it makes you a bit sus, you know? Like, what are you hiding down there? And then you poke around the Vatican and you look at all the stuff they have there. And it's like, what the fuck? I remember when our old guitar player went there, Lilith, and she went on like a, you know, as a tourist and took all these pictures while she was there. She wasn't, this is years later, she wasn't in the band at the time, but she took all these pictures and she had them on her website, and it was like, oh, and look at that, and like, why do they have so many demon carvings? You know, why do they have like got like an Eye of Sauron display and all this weird stuff? A lot of pine cone imagery too, like, because that's the pineal gland. Oh, that's what it supposedly looks like, a pine cone. And you know, they're into that because they want to take control of everybody's pineal gland. Well, what they've done now basically is they froze it in everybody through fluoride and a lot of the diet we have. We've calcified that gland in our skull so that it's like it doesn't function. It's unusable. Now, I've heard a lot of people give different methods of trying to decalcify it. I guess turmeric works pretty good, and I take turmeric quite a bit. I usually get a spoonful of that a day. In fact, I have to pick up some more at Ross because we're out of it. But it's good for a lot of stuff. It's an anti-inflammatory, among other things. It's the major spice. It's cumin is the spice. It's used in curry, and a lot of Indian food. So it's kind of, you got to get used to the taste of it, but it's pretty good for you. I take that a little bit of that every day. But yeah, the Vatican has a lot of evil-looking stuff. You're not allowed to access to their information, and you don't have to answer anybody. So it's like, all right. And they're all a bunch of creepy old dudes that aren't allowed to get married. The whole thing is just, you know, the whole thing just reeks. The whole fucking thing stinks. We're making fun of the Pope's throne room too. Remember the first time I saw that, I thought it was a joke. I thought someone had like photoshopped something. especially when you do when you pull back and you see the shape of the room. It looks like just a giant snake head. Not even before you get close up to that the statues they have behind him. Now that the statues behind him, or the whatever it is, that it's one piece or one thing. It's supposed to be Jesus coming out of a nuclear explosion, is what they're saying it is. Why the fuck would you have something like that? Like, they should have come up with something better. But it looks more horrifying than that. It looks like there's like lizard people in it. No, you've probably seen it. I'll throw it up here on the screen if the off chance you haven't. But it's always fun to point and laugh at. And some of the stuff that goes on in that throne room, man, kind of questionable. A lot of stuff for kids. Well, it's part of rituals. A lot of the things they do there, where they have live from the Vatican type things, it's always a ritual. And people just don't know because they don't know what they're looking at a lot of times. Spooky place. They've caught some weird things on camera there too. Like weird sort of people walking around, or weird entities and stuff. It's an evil place. But of course, in this backwards satanic mirror universe world we live in, it's referred to as a holy city. He was talking about this. He watches this pastor. I forget his name, but I'll get it and I'll put him up on the screen. He was talking about how the original Hebrew texts were actually in Greek first. And I had someone here in the comments telling me about that too. Like, that's where Jesus really originated from that part of the world. Could be. You know what I mean? When you think about him being a carpenter, where are all the forests over there in the desert? You don't think of a place with a lot of trees or a lot of wood. But in Greece there is. There's plenty of places that you can get wood from, be a carpenter. I don't know, being a carpenter in the desert, yeah. I mean, that's just one little thing. A lot of it doesn't line up. Oh, the candy store is gone. I knew they were closing down, but I haven't seen. Now, what could go in there, right? I mean, look at the size of that place. All that square footage. Like, when the candy place was in there, I was thinking, how are they making money? That looks nice, right? Make a good thumbnail. I was looking at that place, like, all they sold was candy. You go in there and you buy, like, bags of candy and you pick out things. You can scoop them into your own, like, bags. Even one of those type of situations. And I was just thinking, man, how do you fucking pay for all that square footage selling little bags of candy? A lot of places here, though, and I've explained this before, they don't really have to make money. They're just here as advertisement for their companies. It's just a place to be. It's almost like being on Rodeo Drive or something. It's just a place to have a place. And a lot of them write off their stores here, and they don't really need to make money. So that's why all the local businesses got squeezed out of here, because they really do have to make money. So if tourists are down, or it's a bad season or something, they have a hard time keeping up when these places don't care if anyone comes in or not. And then the other thing too is if Saks Fifth Avenue suddenly moves in next to where you've been for 20 years, well, your rent goes up, the next time it's up to go up. And if they want you out of there, they can get you out of there easy. You can get, as long as you have money, you can do anything you want here. Like, the corruption here, it makes Massachusetts blush. It's so bad and so blatant. They sell pieces of sidewalk to businesses. I was blown away by that when I first moved here. I was like, what? You know, that's it's federal property. There's a sidewalk, public property, but in Hawaii, it's like, no, that's not federal. That's our property. It's like they'll take all the benefits of being part of the U.S. and ignore all the stuff that would that they have to participate in that doesn't give them 100% return. You know, it's pretty bad like that here. It's the same thing with like laws and stuff. Like, you know, they're kind of lackluster about public safety. You know, that's why I always try to stay away from any construction, anytime they're doing construction. I told a story before about how they did some work near where my house is, and they left all the potholes. They took the manhole covers off, and like it must have got quitting time, and it was time for them to go home, so they just left. They left all the potholes empty. Now I came across the first one. This was a friend of mine walking, and I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, someone could break their neck in that thing. Someone could die falling in there. So I started running home because I knew I could steal some cones out of the garage from my building. I mean, it's not a good thing to do, but this is, you know, serious thing. It's life or death maybe for somebody, you know. And as I'm running back to the house, I see that all of them have no fucking, and are off. The tops of them are all off, and they're all open. They just don't give a fuck. The thing though too is like, you think, whoa, they could sue them. You ain't suing anybody here. No. Yeah, you get lighthouse. You will disappear. You know, you don't sue anybody for anything. And because of that, they're very lax with like shit. I've been around construction sites my whole life, being in working as an engineer for 30 some years, and they'll be working on something, right? And they'll have it opened up, the ground opened up, and when they leave for the night, they'll put a piece of fucking plywood over it, and when you walk on it, you bounce. And I'm like, there's some fat people here. They're usually, for the most part, a lot of them are fat people themselves, so they should know, like, is that going to support your weight, buddy? But they just, it's not that they don't care. I think a lot of times they don't know. Don't know that they're doing anything wrong. I don't think they realize, you know, because there's not a lot of emphasis on that. You know, public safety. Like they'll be fixing something in a tree on one of these main streets, Kalakaua or Kuhio. Like they'll be trimming well, even worse, one time in front of McDonald's over here in Kuhio, there was a crack in the sidewalk, and McDonald's wanted it fixed because, I don't know, I guess someone could actually sue McDonald's because you wouldn't be suing the state of Hawaii. You're not going to sue the state of Hawaii or Waikiki or any of that, but maybe you could sue McDonald's. So, oh wow, that place is all, why is that all boarded up there? Let's see, that's like that sort of artsy looking place that's always cranking in the way too loud hip hop music. I wonder what they're doing there. I don't know. Wasn't really a fan of that place anyway, so good riddance if they're gone. So they were fixing this crack in front of McDonald's, and because of this, they closed the sidewalk. These the construction guys, like 3 of them, fixing this little crack. So now what's happening is that street, Kuhio, is really busy. People aren't the best drivers here. They they aim at you. Buses are crazy too. You call them headhunters because they skim right near the road, and they have those mirrors that hang out and stick your fucking head out. So they close the sidewalk just to fix this. So people had to walk in the street to go out into the road. And I'm thinking, like, what the fuck, don't they, what assholes? And I'm like, well, no, they're not, they don't, you know, God love them, you know, it's, but I don't, they're not trying to be shitheads, man. Whatever, you know. But yeah, that kind of shit happens. You got to kind of look out for yourself here and keep your head in a swivel, because you don't have the protections that you think you do, because you think you're in the United States, so you have all the rights and protections of a U.S. citizen. No, 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 not at all. Not at all. It just looks like an American city, kind of, not even, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. You know, it's just that people need to learn that, like, if they're gonna come here and spend time here. I wouldn't fucking come here. There's no reason to. It's gotten so bad with the violence and shit. Neighborhoods fucking going down the shitter fast, and the cost of everything here is astronomical. They were trying to put like some kind of tax on people visiting to it. They got like a climate tax or something they were trying to do. I guess it got shot down, which I was kind of amazed by, because usually something like that would sail right through, you know. But I think the local vendors were like, no, we can't. We're already pushing these people enough. You know, it's crazy how much the price of everything is. It's the most expensive city in the alleged United States of America. But, you know, we're making it somehow. I was telling a story yesterday about why I first came here, and I got caught up with something else and never finished it, which is common. Dia came here to take care of a family member on her side who had dementia and Alzheimer's. A lot of the family doesn't live here. They live elsewhere. It's only really Nia's parents that live here, so they're the only ones available to take care of Nia's mother, which is who it was with the Alzheimer's. So she looked like she was maybe gonna have 6 months left, and her mom was preparing for that. So Nia's idea was we'd come out here and help her with all that stuff, with burying her and all, getting, you know, getting the final stuff done. I had just left the gig in the city, and I was like, well, I got nothing going on, you know. Let's go help her out for a while, a couple months. We made the decision on a Friday, and Friday night we talked about it, and then Sunday morning we were getting on a plane. So it was happening real fast. I barely had time to give away all my belongings, but I did. I got rid of them all. I called a couple people, said, hey, does your kid want this? Or calling kids, because all my stuff is like fucking, you know, all that retarded plastic shit and comic books and stuff. But so we were thinking we'd be here until she died, and then we were going to return. We were looking to move to Salem, Mass, and then we got here, and she didn't die within 6 months. 6 years later, she was still alive. And by that time, I'd already kind of figured out I'm supposed to be here for whatever reason. Well, I know what the reason is, but I you know, sometimes you know where you're supposed to be, and I'm supposed to be here. So here I am. Her grandmother did finally pass away a few years back. She lived to like be 97 or something. She was really old. But yeah, she's gone now. She's gone, and we're still here. And I don't really plan on leaving here, you know. Although lately I've been thinking about it, because it's like, it's turning into every city USA here, whereas it used to have its own kind of flavor, and it was a lot safer and a lot more of a chill place to walk around. And now it's getting so that it's just like fucking Manhattan or something. And it's like, all right, well, it's the fucking point of being here. Yeah, the weather's nice, but the people really make a place, you know. And that's what I always say about this place. It looks beautiful. It's like the supermodels. They're beautiful, but dumb. You know, that's what this place is. It looks nice, but it's really fucking dumb. It has a lot of problems. And they've only multiplied since the lockdowns. This place, after the COVID thing, is so different. Like, so many things. I'm not even talking about the influx of mainlanders that they specifically brought in, but a lot of things. The people that did weather the storm and managed not to get kicked off the island when they were trying to kick everybody off the island, If you had deep enough pockets to remain here, you could. I mean, our family, Nia's family, my family too, there were like a support system for us. So, you know, we were able to weather it out. But even the people that managed to make it are in a much worse position than they were before. And the mood has changed. It's not as friendly. You know, it's a lot more nasty. Plus the shot coming into play. A lot of these people, you know, like most people in a lot of places, ended up with it, and it just changed them. You know, it changed them, and it's continuing to change them. I'm so glad that they didn't blossom at the eclipse. You know, I didn't think it was gonna happen, but you never know. Eventually, that's how they say that's going to happen. It's going to be some kind of solar event. They kept saying like a, what do you call this, solar flare type thing is going to have the required heat to activate it in that many people. And they thought possibly the eclipse was going to be that time. And with all the other spoopy stuff that was going on, all the other shenanigans they were doing, it seemed like they were gearing up for something, and nothing. Now that we've seen, just because no apocalyptic event happened doesn't mean it wasn't the beginning of something being set in motion, or a stage, the beginning of a stage, like 2012 or 2011. Everybody said, oh, 2012, nothing happened. Yeah, except the human resonance fucking falling off a cliff and all the stuff that came from 2012. That was, I mean, the Mandela effect, I guess, popped up a couple years before that, but that was around the time when the veil started really thinning out for me, and I started to come around to the idea. You know, I was talking yesterday about my mental health journey and how like 5 years prior it started for me, but after 2012 it really, I started seeing everything. I'm like, oh my god, the fuck is going on? It was like I put the glasses on. I put the Roddy Piper glasses on. But I came here to make a video and go into Long's, and I'm all out of video. So until next time, thanks for dropping by. Until we next meet, don't blame the teacher, blame the school. Say hi, Nia.